Hey guys, welcome to the first video of I Can Review. In this video, I am going to be reviewing a classic Bollywood movie, Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum. In this video, I'm basically going to cover why this movie might be the greatest movie in cinema. And I know that is a big statement to make, but I'm going to go through every single aspect as to why I think that is true. To get started, I'm just going to give a gist of what the movie is about. Basically, the movie is about a rich family and a poor girl. The rich family consists of Shah Rukh Khan, and his dad is Amitabh Bachchan, his mom is Jaya Bachchan, and his brother is Hrithik Roshan in the movie. And then the poor girl is Kajol, and her sister is Kareena Kapoor. What they show in the beginning of the movie is basically differences in the lifestyle of both of these families and characters. As Shah Rukh Khan enters the movie, he is coming from London. He has been studying in a really big university, while Kajol has been working in a sweet shop. Um, and what they try to show here is that even though these two people come from very different lives, the power of love overcomes us, and it basically shows how they fight for their love and how they come together. But with the power of love, there is also the power of family. Mostly for Shah Rukh Khan in the movie, he has to struggle with his family as they don't accept Kajol as their daughter-in-law. And it's not necessarily his whole family, it's mostly his dad. And they show it is his dad because his dad values status a lot. They don't necessarily show money, that he values money, but he does value status a lot. And there is a lot of misunderstanding because towards the end of the movie, um, they show that Amitabh Bachchan as the dad does tell Shah Rukh Khan, why didn't you come to me and openly talk to me rather than making a harsh decision just because you love someone. The movie also covers a an idea of a generational gap when it comes to love and understanding of family. They show that as where Shah Rukh Khan is going out and finding someone on his own, even though she comes from a different type of lifestyle, different type of life, they show that Amitabh Bachchan, when he got married to his wife, it was more of his parents choosing someone for him who was on the same level of, you can say, status in the community as him. But all in all, they show but towards the end how throughout all these differences that these different generations within the family how they come together. To further get into why I consider this movie to be one of the greatest movies in cinema, if not the greatest, is to cover the impact this movie it had on me. Growing up, this was definitely my favorite movie. It still is. And the reason it was one of my favorite movies, even like as a kid, I liked a lot of action movies, and this is not an action movie at all. But the reason I liked this movie a lot was because it really gave me an insight of what it takes to be part of like kind of like a joint family, but also getting what you want out of life. It showed that you need to have an understanding for what your parents want in life, but also to understand that if there is something that you want, how to achieve it while also making some sacrifices into getting it. And in this movie, you really see that Shah Rukh Khan has two options. It is either choosing the girl he loves or choosing his family. And ultimately, at first, they do show that he struggles and does choose his family. But then as he gets closer and closer to this girl, he ends up leaving his family because his dad is not ready to accept what it is. So this movie really made me understand that you need to have a value for family and also a value for sacrifices that doesn't hurt too many people around you. Thirdly, um, as to why I think this is one of the greatest movies is I noticed the impact it had on people around me. It is one of the most talked about movies in any household when it comes to Bollywood. Every single person from a Desi household and even non-Desi household knows about this movie. They talk about it, they show the influence it had on the parents and the kids, and they really talk about why the family life matters as compared to, in the movie where they show why love matters. Also, when it comes to people in the industry itself in Bollywood, every new actor, every new actress, every new director who is coming, they at some point bring up this movie and really talk about how iconic it is. They show and try to rationalize and compare and connect with how this movie affected them. It, especially for Shah Rukh Khan as an actor, it really, really made him a babyface of the industry because they showed the connection he had with his mother from the beginning, the connection he had with his father, the connection he had with his brother, the connection he had with the person he loved. He always tried making the right decisions and throughout the movie, and it really made it seem like that, and this can be true that this is how he is outside of movies too. And there's another thing about this movie when it comes to the industry. The songs in this movie are really crazy. There is not one bad song in this movie. Every song throughout this movie is still talked about today. Bole Churiyan is one of the biggest songs when it comes to any wedding in any Desi household. So it really shows how big of an impact these songs have had on people worldwide. Beside the movie being good itself, this movie really, really carried each actor's career, um, and made it much bigger too. Especially for Shah Rukh Khan, like as I said before, he was really considered a really big baby face after this movie, and people really started understanding that this is who he is outside of movies too. And he was already like a superstar before this, but I think this movie made him even bigger. As for Kajol, for her it's a little tricky. She didn't work as much after this, but she did play a really good role. Hrithik Roshan, he was still early in his career, but one thing that I noticed and understood was that he was still very early in his career and he chose to accept a role where he's not the main character. And his role was still appreciated a lot, and I give him a lot of ratings for that. Kareena Kapoor, lastly, that Pooh character is one of the most iconic characters when it comes for any female actresses. Everyone brings it up. Everyone thinks that that's a character that really, really made her get really big. So I think this movie also had a really big impact on all of these actors as well. Years after this movie has come out, it's been such a long time. It is still regarded as one of the greatest movies, and it is due to the reasons that I've talked about. It is a multiple time watch, especially for me throughout the year and for a lot of people around me. Anytime this movie is on, people cannot take their eyes off the TV or their computer. And the songs of this movie, like I said before, are iconic. Any Desi household or any Desi event, any Desi wedding you go to, you will always hear songs from this movie. And also for Karan Johar, I think this movie was a very, very career-setting movie for him. He was already doing good, but I feel like this really made him much bigger. It kind of set his vision that he had for like grand settings and songs, and this movie was kind of a basis for him to make all these other movies that he's making now. Like for example, Rocky Aur Rani Ki Prem Kahani. When I was personally watching it, I feel like it had a lot of similarities between Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum too, and I feel like that's a pattern throughout Karan Johar's career when he directs movies on his own. Many actors after this movie also want to work with him after this because they understood that anyone he introduces, anyone he puts in his movies, they get really, really big after. Um, and he also created this like niche category when it comes to movies involving romance and family life. So just some ending notes. Once again, this is one of my favorite movies of all time. I think this is one of the movies that I'm going to watch till the day I die, and I honestly mean that. And another thing I think why this might be one of the greatest movies in cinema, if not cinema, then Bollywood, is there cannot be another movie replicated like this. Rocky or Ronnie, I keep bringing up Rocky or Ronnie because it is something I watched recently. It does have connections and kind of similarities to this, but it is nowhere as good and as emotional as what this movie was. The songs even don't compare to what this movie was. Everyone should appreciate this movie because it gives a good understanding of a balance between family life and love life. And that is all for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you.